Hey, welcome back to the Brew channel. I'm Mike.
And I'm Joey.
And today we're going to go through some exciting stuff. First off, we'll be doing a Marshmallow Stout. And we also have some new gear to show off. So sit back and relax, and we'll show you how it's done.
Okay, so on today's episode, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need 3 pounds of mini marshmallows, 7 pounds of Mare's Otter pale malts, 1 pound of lactose. We're going to use a teaspoon of Irish moss, 5 teaspoons of yeast nutrients, 2 ounces of fugal hops. We're going to use dry ale yeast, and this pack is the S04, 8 ounces of crystal ADL malts, 8 ounces of roasted barley, 1 pound of chocolate malts, and a pound and 4 ounces of flaked oats. Okay, so we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a mixing spoon. We're going to be using 2 Wort chillers. We also need a 12-quart stock pot.
We'll also be using our fermenter with airlock. And this time, we actually have something from Anvil for temp control. But we'll get that in more detail towards the end of the video. We have our container full of sanitizer. We have a strainer, our hydrometer, our thermometer, and a spray bottle for easy sanitation. And finally, we'll be using the Anvil to brew in. So we finally got our strike water up to temperature, which is 159 degrees Fahrenheit. At the 120 volt Anvil, that took around an hour. We currently have just about 6 gallons of water in here right now. So we're going to turn the unit off. We're going to start the mashing. And the reason we had the unit off as we're mashing in, we want to make sure that temperature is lowering down because we want our mash temperature to be about 156 degrees. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to pour this in slowly. And we're going to continue mixing because we don't want to end up with a stuck mash. So we wrapped up the mashing. So the first thing we wanted to do was set our unit to 156 and turn the power down to about between 40 and 50% because we want to make sure that it's not going over that minimum temperature we're looking at. So then we're going to allow this to sit for 10 minutes, let it steep. Kind of break up the grains so as we do our circulation, we're not going to end up with the stuck mash.
Okay, so now we're going to start the circulation process. We're going to start off with a quick stir. And we want to make sure that we don't touch the bottom. And a good reason why is because we don't want to scrape it. And now we're going to start setting up the pump. Make sure that's attached properly. Open the valve. And we're going to turn this on. And we want to make sure that's at a slow, medium pour. That's a little too fast right now. Goes for 1 hour. And we're going to stir every 15 minutes. And what we want to make sure is that we keep this between 50 to 80%. And the reason why is we don't want the fan constantly running. And then 20 minutes left within the hour, we want to start our sparge water.
Alrighty, so we're going to start prepping the mash out. So Joey has already got our sparge water up to 170. We got our Anvil, we set it to 170, and we let the grains rest for 10 minutes. Pretty much we want to loosen up any sugar that's in them. So as we're doing our slow pour of the sparge, that's going to allow us to extract any leftover sugars that are remaining within our grain. So as you can see here, the Anvil provides all these nice holes, and we could evenly disperse the water, maximizing how much grains that we're pulling out. All right, so our grains have finally finished straining, so we're going to go ahead and get our boil set up. So first off, we'll have the power set to 100. Then we set this to the boil. Boom. Once it reaches the boil point, then we're going to have this boil for an hour. But at the 45-minute mark, make sure you start putting in your wort chiller so that it can start getting sanitized.
Okay, so we're going to put our first set of hops at the beginning of the boil, halfway through. At the half-hour mark, we're going to put our second set of hops. 15 minutes left into the boil, we're going to put 1 teaspoon of Irish moss. And 10 minutes left into the boil, we're going to put 5 teaspoons of the yeast nutrients. And after the boil, we're going to put 3 pounds of our mini marshmallows and 1 pound of the lactose milk sugar. Okay, we've reached the end of the boil. We're going to first turn off the unit. And from this point on, we want to make sure that everything that touches the wort is sanitized moving forward. We're going to cool down the wort between 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason why is because we don't want to kill the yeast.
Okay, now that we got our wort down between 60 and 70 degrees, let's go ahead and transfer this into our fermenter. So now that it's been transferred over, we're going to go ahead and take a quick gravity reading. And wow, it looks like our wort's actually at 7.04. So this is going to be a doozy of a beer. So now let's go ahead and pitch our yeast. We're going to first off spray the scissors and spray our yeast packet. Then we're going to dump it in. So we're going to go and shake this up. We're aerating the wort. And basically we're just adding oxygen to the wort. At a high level, this is allowing the yeast to grow and multiply, so the new yeast could then eat up the sugar, and then that's how you get your alcohol. But do be careful, because shaking for too long can cause oxidation, which will add some off flavors to your beer. Okay, so we have a few things going on for the InkBird. First off, we have our digital system here that's going to allow for us seeing what temperature the actual wort is. If you look on top, you'll see that we have a place that you could drop in your thermometer down in the thermal well. So basically what this InkBird's going to do, if it gets too hot, it's going to activate and it's going to hit our pump that has a cooler, which is going to be filled with ice water, which will circulate through and keep that temperature at 68. But on the opposite side, if it gets under the desired temperature, we have this heating element too that we can wrap around. So if it gets too cold, the InkBird will then read and then kick this thing on. So what we're aiming for is during the 2 weeks of fermentation is to sit at a nice 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That is what the yeast will love. It will be able to thrive. And your beer, fingers crossed, will have the best taste that you're looking for. So now that we have our temperature controlled set up, we're going to go ahead and let this sit and ferment for 2 weeks. After that, we'll do a couple of gravity readings, make sure, our numbers are stable. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and bottle this up, let it sit for 2 more weeks, and you're good to go. You could go ahead, throw it in the fridge, drink it the next day.
Sometime later.
All right, everyone. So it's been pretty much a month and we're here ready to try our marshmallow stout. Let's give this a go and see if this is worth making again.
Got a nice color.
Shit, that dark. Ooh, look at that head on that. That looks a lot better than the last one we did. There was like absolutely no head to that fucking strawberry stout we did. This dude has never poured a beer in his life, you can tell.
Yep. That could like almost smell the marshmallows a little bit. It's like there's like a sweetness.
Yeah, it smells very sweet. It doesn't smell roasted, which makes sense, like a campfire kind of marshmallow. But we didn't roast them because I was an idiot and did not take the time to actually buy the torch. And I have an electric oven, so...
Cheers. Let's try.
Cheers.
That came out good.
Now that is super sweet.
It reminds me of a Guinness.
Dude, this is super smooth.
Yeah.
Just super sweet. Like, it's really sweet. It's almost like
it is sweet. It is sweet. To me, it's not too. It's like the right level of sweetness. It cuts off, but it's not like for my palate. It's just right.
It reminds me of a Guinness, but it's a little bit sweeter than a normal Guinness because, I've been drinking Guinness all day. I was having the extra dry stout, and this definitely has a little bit more sweetness than Guinness.
Yeah.
But it has the smoothness of Guinness.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this. I would consider this a dessert stout, ironically, even though it's supposed to be a marshmallow stout. But we did use a whole pound of lactose, so that's probably why it's so super creamy, super smooth, super sweet. You could feel it on the tongue, like
Yeah.
it's there. Out of 10.
Out of 10,
Out of 10.
I give it like 8.5. I really like this one.
Yeah, I would agree, and you know, it's weird because like I do judge beer like any brewery I go to or anything that I grab, so I am super picky on stuff and I pick up small things, and I'm really hoping just because it's the beer that I brew that I'm not fucking being biased towards it tasting good. But damn, this is good. I would definitely brew this again. I don't think that I would drink this though during like the summer. Like I can't imagine sitting out on the porch with this.
Maybe like in a campfire.
Yeah,
Like maybe if it's a little chill.
like late at night during the summer.
Yeah.
Like it's good, but I don't know if I would drink 6 of these at a time just because it feels very...
This would probably pair really well with like a steak.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes, you get the asparagus on the side. This would pair really well with it.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'll do this one again, definitely. You know, obviously we don't have to film this one again, but, you know, if you want to take our word for it, go ahead, brew it up, let us know how it ends up for you. I think it's definitely this one, yeah, this one's going in the books, and I think anyone who brews this would enjoy this one. So, till next time, cheers.
Cheers. Actually, it might be 156.
I was like, how is he not noticing?
I didn't even notice. You're so quiet.
Yeah, Brew now, our boys know the difference between righty-tighty and lefty-loosey.
No, I don't.